children, welcome back to your grammar class. In the last class, you learned what is active voice and what is passive voice. In today's class, let us learn when do we use passive voice and how it is used in different tenses. Children, when do we use passive voice? Yes, when the action is more important than the person doing it, we use passive voice. Let us take an example. The king donated 10 crores. Here, the subject king is given more importance and it answers the question who donated. Let us reframe the sentence and write it as 10 crores was donated by the king. In the second sentence, the amount is given more importance than the person giving it. It answers the question how much. These type of sentences are used in reporting news. In active voice, the person doing the work is important, but in passive voice, the person doing the work is not important. The passive voice uses a helping verb be with the main verb in its past participle form. Now, let us see what is a helping verb and past participle. A helping verb is a verb that comes before the main verb in a sentence. A helping verb is also known as an auxiliary verb. Some helping verbs in English are am, is, are, was, were, be, been, being, do, does, did, have, has, had, may, can, must, might, shall, will, should, would, could. Verb is an action word. There are regular verbs and irregular verbs. All the regular verbs form their past tense and past participle by adding ed to the root verb. But the irregular verbs form their past tense and past participle differently. You have also learned the V1, V2, V3 form of verbs, isn't it? Root verb is called the V1 form and its past tense is called V2 form, its past participle is called V3 form, and when you add ing to the root verb, it is called V plus ing form of the verb. Let us see some examples. Here you can see the root verb play becomes played in past tense and played in past participle. The same way, change becomes changed and changed, whereas the irregular verbs go becomes went in past tense and gone in past participle. Cut becomes cut and cut in both past tense and past participle. Drink becomes drank in past tense, whereas it becomes drunk in past participle. In passive voice, the work is done by an object, that is a person, animal or thing, and it is mentioned. So, passive voice sentence has by after the verb. The cat was chased by the dog. The boy is helped by the girl. Few cases by plus object is avoided. Example, the thief was caught. Here, the thief is caught by the police, which is obvious. So, the by the police can be avoided. Helping verbs used with three tenses. The helping verbs are always used with the respective tenses. So, whenever you see these words in a sentence, you will know verb is in which tense. If the verb in the active voice is in past tense, then the helping verb should also be in past tense in passive voice. It means the tense does not change when you convert active voice into passive voice. Now, let us see how to convert active voice sentences into passive voice sentences. Step 1. Identify the subject and the object and interchange the place of the subject and object. Here, Ramu is the subject, the letter is the object. When you interchange the place, the letter becomes the subject and Ramu becomes the object. Step 2. Find out the past participle form of the used verb. Children, see here, writes is in present tense and it is an irregular verb. So, the past tense of write becomes wrote and the past participle form of the verb is written. Then step 3, use an appropriate helping verb. Since the main verb writes is in present tense, is the helping verb used. The past participle form of the main verb is written and the work is done by the object. So by is written between the verb and the object. Now let us see the same sentence in past tense. The sentence becomes Ramu wrote the letter. The first step is to interchange the subject and the object. The object becomes the subject and the subject becomes the object. Now the second step is very important. The verb is in past tense. The verb is in past tense. The main verb is write. The past tense of the verb is wrote and the past participle form of the word is written. So the form of the word wrote becomes written. Here, the helping verb is different because the verb is in past tense. The helping verb is was. And since the object is doing the work and the work is done by the object, by is written after the main verb and before the object. Now, let us see one more sentence. The mouse helped the lion. First step is as usual, change the place of the subject and the object. Subject becomes object and the object becomes subject. The important step here is to recognize the tense of the verb. It is helped. The main verb is help. The given word is helped. Which tense is it in, children? Yes, the verb is in past tense. So which helping verb would you use? Yes, you are correct. Helping verb used should be was. And by is used between the past participle form of the main verb help and the object. Children, I hope you might have understood why and how sentences are changed from active voice to passive voice, the steps involved in conversion, and an important point about tenses. That is, when you change sentences from active voice to passive voice, tense of the sentence does not change. To efficiently convert the sentences, you should learn the different helping verbs in past tense and present tense and the past participle form of the regular and irregular verbs. So, kindly go through the lesson on regular and irregular verbs.